Hello to all of you. Well, I'm standing here with Mark White, and we're in Bedford. Okay, and you wouldn't believe it with the house and the garden behind. What did you say? It's like Dainton Abbey.
It's like Dainton Abbey. That is correct.
So we're basically in the Eastern Cape here in South Africa, and Mark and I met each other about a year ago, plus minus. And actually, he grew up in this area. He was the neighbouring farmer across the road. Mark, tell us just a little bit about yourself and your journey, basically.
Okay. So basically, we farmed for 20 years, and then I had to educate 4 kids. Okay. When we went to Grahamstown, I realized that the farm wasn't going to generate enough money to educate 4 kids at a private school. So I had the idea of building student accommodation. Now, this was way before it became fashionable. And what we did was we went and found 4 of us, the best builder in Grahamstown, the best architect, and the local brickmaker, and myself as the marketing. And we created this very, very successful student complex. But the problem is that 15 years down the line, while it's working phenomenally well, Grahamstown has changed. The municipality is not managing it as it should. Our rentals aren't keeping pace with inflation. So I started looking around for other alternatives. Okay, and that's where I came across Scott. Now, when I tried to invest overseas and diversify, the problem me sitting in Grahamstown, I had little or no chance of success of going to London to try and find some sort of property. Okay. Now, with Scott and his team, I've got Michiel on the one side, and I've got Henny on the other side looking for buildings and doing due diligence. And then I've got Scott's platform, which puts me in contact with the Seychelles and where the money will be resided. So in half an hour, I've got access to some of the best brains in the world. Now, to me, that was an absolute no-brainer, the easiest sell I ever come across.
So, I mean, just to paraphrase what you're saying there is that from your experience, you've come from a farming background, you're from the Eastern Cape here. In Grahamstown, you decided that to do it differently, to put your kids through private school, you basically did student accommodation. But what I think was really key there is that I always say to people, you don't invest in property, you actually invest in partners. And that's Absolutely. What you did. You had the builder, the architect, and the brickmaker, and obviously yourself bringing it all together. And really what attracted you to where we're going now is that really it's that just extrapolated at a global level, basically. And it's exactly the same philosophy, because we're not the ones necessarily doing the development or trying to manage the building. For us, it's all about finding the best partners, and then through technology giving people access to the best partners and being able to participate. Tell me, just in terms of going forward, how do you see technology enhancing people's lives when it comes to investing? You've done it yourself, hands-on, and now people can not only be investors in their local country but globally. How do you see technology evolving that?
Yeah, Scott, my experience was that in Grahamstown I understood the market, I was good at it, I had no problem investing there. But with Grahamstown changing, the dynamics of student accommodation changing, I suddenly now, when I step out of Grahamstown, how do I cope? And you're just not going to succeed. The chance of success of me going to London and finding something is not going to work. What technology does is it makes it possible for me to live in Grahamstown or Bathurst and invest anywhere in the world via a platform. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's wonderful when you talk like that, because for me, it's a classic example of what I refer to as a global citizen. Yeah. And a global citizen has the freedom to live wherever they want in the world, but to be able to invest anywhere they want in the world, and then to have the overseas income and assets, to live the lifestyle they want, basically. And, the way you sum it up, I fundamentally agree with you. I think technology is going to open up those doors for people to be able to live the lives they want, basically. No, excellent, Mark. Well, that's wonderful, and thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Great stuff.